we learn about the globalization of racism, how it is not just focused in one country or one side of the world, but how it affects everyone both directly and indirectly. We may not see it, but our actions in the United States have huge consequences on our neighboring nations, as well as nations across or halfway around the world. It's extremely important that we start taking us out of ourselves and focusing on how our actions affect others. And we can do this by traveling to those nations or by speaking to people from those nations, hearing their stories, educating ourselves and others on how our actions, our mindset affects people here and around the world. We cannot have a peaceful and well-connected world house when over half of our world house is being affected negatively by the other half's actions. And we cannot change this until we recognize how the consequences of our actions and of our policies surrounding those other nations affect them. And this is why we need to recognize that and take the time and start struggling with the idea of stepping out of ourselves and stepping into the shoes of people who we may not see on a day-to-day basis. Our actions are not just in government policies, but also the corporations that have started and bloomed in the United States. Rather than watch TV or rather than spend time doing nothing, read books about revolutionary actions of people in Venezuela or South Africa. Read books about movements that happened in Guatemala and movements that happened in Taiwan or Vietnam. There are plenty of books, there are plenty of articles and people that we need to take the time to study and learn from.
Our world today has become so divided. Western civilizations have exploited smaller non-Western countries and for our own greed. We are making huge corporations who take their resources, and many countries have begun to resent us, resent the Western world. We cannot create a united world house with this resentment and with this exploitation still going on today. So we need to work together to try to make amends with the countries that we have exploited and stop taking advantage. And we need to build bridges and really come together and form a more perfect union. Capitalism has really spread racism around the world. I mean, we experience racism here in America, of course. We have institutions that have been brought up that our country was founded on of racism. But there are countries out there who experience racism on a national level. Their whole country is discriminated against, and we need to start learning more about these issues and really spreading awareness for them, especially here in America.